go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me a reason.
Great John on the beat, by the way.
My body different. Shorty said she tryna kick it. I'm in the mouth, son, like a dentist. Cooking up, I'm in the kitchen. Big bro wildin' tryna catch a victim. I took a L, but now I'm back game winning. Look, and I'm doing well. Don't even ask how I'm living. Niggas ain't real, they cap. Ride around with the C laid back. They told me to chill, I'm itching to clap. If I pull up, somebody get whacked. Boy, tire lace, niggas tripping. Red lights, we gon' skip it. Fucked up a new V, we was dipping. From the police, I was drilling, but fuck it, let's skate on. Run up a bag with my bro guards. Watch how I show off. Step in the room and she taking her clothes off. I ain't even say much, ain't even do much. They like sleeping you too much. No, I got a bag right. No, I live a fast life. Said she fell in love, met her last night. Said she want this shit for life. Girl, you must be dumb. No, you not the type. No, I'm not the type. I think I was lost in a past life. Came back, got my cash right. Say you want the sauce, I can get you right. But it's heavyweight, not light, bro. Keep a strap, son, like a dyke. He be shooting, he don't like to fight. I can get you wrapped up like a gift. Smoked up like a spliff. Chopper tell him back up or get hit. Got my racks up, now I'm lit. I can get you packed up in this bitch. And my blood blue, cause I'm crip fanny pack full of hundreds. I just reach on my waist and he running. Bitches say a nigga stuntin'. No, they hate how I came up from nothing. Back out, get the drumming. I'ma show a nigga how I'm coming. I was down, now I'm upping. They was hating on me, now they love it.
Go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me a reason.
I've done teamed up with the boy Mark the Mentor. Are you ready to take your trucking business to the next level? With Trucks.pro, you get access to the best load board in the game, giving you the tools to find higher paying loads and streamline your operation. And right now, you can try the Pro plan free for 30 days, a $159 value. Click the link in the description to claim your free Pro plan and start making smarter moves for your trucking business today.
Warning: the following content contains strong language and may not be suitable for children. This content is primarily for adults, as this is a trucking channel and truckers have filthy mouths. Please don't tweak if I say. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Come on in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on all post notifications. All right. We're back 12 hours later. I think we ended the live stream last night about 12:30. It's about noon now. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Come on and hit that like button. Let's get this show on the road so we can get on about our business. Shout out to Great Polo. Shout out to all the MGM members. Shout out to Kelvin Bird. Shout out to Trey Lamar. Was Trey Lamar the young guy from last night? Hey, Trey Lamar, let me holler at you for a second. You and Daniel inspired today's live stream. I hope you're still here. You and Daniel are what inspired today's live stream. All right. So, don't get in your feelings. Don't get in your feelings, because we got to get some understanding together. I think a lot of y'all young guys, I see where y'all issue is at. But hold on tight. We're going to get to it in a minute. Give me a second. Shout out to Kelvin Birch. What's going on? Shout out to Don Solo, representing the crib. Shout out to Kelvin Birch, also representing the crib. Shout out to DDD Truckers. Shout out to Happy to Deliver. Shout out to SD Walk. Shout out to all the MGM members. Shout out to David Martin. What's going on? William Sweet representing Jacksonville, Florida. Shout out to Happy to Deliver. What is going on? Good morning, good afternoon. Shout out to Roger Lacey representing Cincinnati. Shout out to Kirk Everbless. What's going on? Shout out to Jonathan representing the Brinox. Who else we got? Shout out to Pippi. Shout out to all the moderators. Who else we got? Shout out to King Sing representing NYC. King Sing said, long time. I was on a live stream last night. I did a late one last night. I took like a week and a half off. The holidays kicked in. And I don't know, man. Something about that dressing. Mama's dressing, man. It put me down for a few days. You dig what I'm saying? Something about that down south cooking. You dig what I'm saying? That shit put me down. I just wasn't the mood to really stream last week. But we back. Shout out to Dave, what's going on? Shout out to Goat Logistics. Shout out to Joshua Young. Shout out to UK Hemi. Shout out to everybody that's coming on in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. Boom. Today we're going to be talking about family or business. Family or business. All right. Which one? Should you start a family first or should you start your business first? Let me put a poll up. This is going to be the ones where some feelings going to get a little hurt. You already see people like drama. When we talk about the real topics, man, people don't want to stick around for that. Then when it get heated, when the live stream get real controversial, then people want to stick around. They don't like the beginning part. But hold on, we gonna cook in a minute. There's some feelings gonna get hurt. Let me put it in the chat. Now, should you start your family or business? Hold on, let me capitalize business. Family or business first. Now, this is pertaining really towards younger people, right? Because some people start a business later on in life and they already got their family and shit like that. But this is more pertaining to the younger people who have an option. They still got that option. So, family first. And then let's start the poll. I mean, anybody can vote in a poll, but the lecture is more geared to younger people. All right, so let's kick it. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. Make sure you guys hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Poll is pinned to the top of the chat. All right. Should you start your family or your business first? And when I'm asking this poll, even if you're older, look at it from if you were, let's say, 20 to 32. All right. If you could go back and do things all over again, 20 to 32, and you had aspirations of being an entrepreneur, which would you start first? All right, let's kick it. Last week, we did a call-in show. Was it last week or the week before? It might have been a week before last. Time moves very, very fast. So let's say the week before last, we did a live stream, and it was a young guy. It was the week before last. Daniel, 3 kids, Colorado, 3 kids, wife, lives at home with his mom. Then we saw last night the guy Trey, right? 3 kids, 1 kid on the way. All these kids were pretty much conceived within the last 3 to 4 years. The last year, I think he said he was homeless. So these kids, 2 or 3 of these kids were conceived during homelessness, right? And here's the thing. Both of these guys have aspirations towards getting in this industry. They want to start a business, right? All right. So let's talk about it. Should you start your family or should you start your business first? Let's talk about understanding priorities. All right. Let's talk about understanding priorities. When you're making a decision, you got to make the decision what's more important. What's more important to you right now? Family or business? What's more important to you right now? Family or business? Last night, it was some things that I wanted to ask Trey. And I would have normally, but I just said, you know what, I'm gonna hold off. It was some things that I wanted to say to him, but I decided that I wanted just to hold off, right? But I feel like now I should have said it to him. Starting a business and starting a family are 2 major events in a person's life. Both are very expensive. Both are very costly. Costly financially, costly time-wise. Goes back to what I'm saying. You got to ask yourself, which one is more important to you now? Because that's the one you're going to have to prioritize. You start a business, you start a family, something's going to get neglected. This is facts. Nothing I'm sitting up here telling you I'm pulling out my ass. Something's going to get neglected. Here's what I don't understand. I got my bullet points, but I'm finna veer off now because I'm getting started, so now I'm about to cook. Here's what I don't understand. It's how a lot of you young guys, y'all come up here, y'all want to start a business, but y'all priorities is all over the place. Can I have permission to cuss on this live stream? I feel like I need to cuss. Y'all priorities is all messed up. How y'all think y'all finna build a business, a successful business, and you having kids 40 going north and you ain't even established yet? Your priorities is already messed up. You haven't even established a place to live, but you still having kids. Your personal life ain't established. So you already making bad decisions. Life is about choices and decisions. Raising a family is very expensive. Starting a business is very expensive. A lot of time. Doing both simultaneously can be really, really overwhelming. I think a lot of people are starting a family irresponsibly. If we go off the last two case studies, the guy from last night and Daniel, I think people with common sense would agree. So if you look at a person's situation and you're making poor decisions on your personal side, what do you think you're going to do on the business side? Now, I could sit up here and be like some of your favorite people and tell you, hey, man, just do it, you know, this, that, and the third, but it goes back to uncertainty and stability. What's more important to you? Now, if we go with the case of Daniel, and Daniel probably watched, he probably like, damn, Mark's still picking on me. No, Mark ain't picking on you. Mark is actually mentoring you. Something that you said you didn't have. Clearly, Buddy last night don't got it either. Starting a family, here's the cost that's associated with starting a family. Housing, healthcare, childcare, education, extracurricular, clothing, food, when I said healthcare, and all the extra shit that I didn't name. All this costs money. Starting a business costs money. The first year is going to be your toughest year. A lot of people don't even make money the first year. So when you got mouths to feed, you got to have some sort of stability. Where does the sacrifice come from then? Where does the sacrifice come from? Let's look at the last two case studies that we got that was similar. Both of them, the women don't work. I don't want her to work. So you got two case studies in the past 2 weeks. Both have similar living situations. Both have similar family situations as far as having kids back to back to back. Both of they women don't work. And this is just two case studies. This is a lot of people this age range right now. They frown upon working a job. They don't want their women to work. Their women don't want to work. Y'all keep having kids, but then you think you're going to come into a business, start a business. And when you come out at Big Mark, you expect me to like to give you this silver bullet or the silver lining tale that, yeah, just get your authority, this, that, and the third. No, we're going to talk about the whole scope of this shit because you still got to sustain your living. I understand what it costs to build a business and also understand what it costs to pay real bills in the real world. See, Buddy 2 weeks ago, he don't know what it's like to pay real bills. The real world ain't easy. No one cares about your problems. No one cares. All these problems these shorties keep complaining about, nobody cares. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep telling you. The people that mislead you don't care. The gas people don't care. The electric companies don't care. The rent, the property managers, the mortgage companies, the banks that finance your mortgage, your car finance company, your predatory loan company that you finance your truck from, the insurance company, your renter's insurance, your homeowner's insurance, your commercial insurance, your personal car insurance, anybody that you pay bills to don't care about your plight. It's fuck you pay me. So if you got aspirations of starting a business and you know building a business is tough and you know there's a lot of sacrifices, why y'all keep doing what's not in your best interest? Here's what I didn't understand about Buddy last night. Even the shorty from 2 weeks ago. How are y'all struggling but y'all still fucking? How are you popping out kids but you still got aspirations to start a business, but some strange way you still got some type of, how can you be broke with a sex drive? I don't get it. That's what I'm saying. Like this generation, I don't get it, bro. I don't get how you could be fucking like 40 going north, broke as fuck. Excuse the noise. How is that possible? Last night, bro, how you having these kids and you in a room? Oh man, you know how it is. No, the fuck I don't. Listen, if I was fucked up, the last thing on my mind would be fucking. I probably wouldn't even be able to perform. My mind would be how to get to this money or the munyon. See, this is the conversation that y'all ain't having, and this is the conversation that you need to have. So when I tell you go get a job, I'm not telling you that shit to crush your dreams like the goofy dude that was trying to do the push-ups came in my chat, then I had to pull him up. I'm telling you that because it's facts. You need stability. You don't need uncertainty. Anybody that tells you otherwise, I don't think they really got your best interest in mind. You got to focus on your livelihood because your risk tolerance is low. Like, how are you going to take the risk? A lot of the risks that I taken in business when I was building, I wouldn't have been able to take half of those risks if I even had one kid that depended on me. It would be too, like a lot of the things that I sacrificed and risks that I took them because I only had me to fend for. I can survive. How can you start a business with 3 and 4 kids with nowhere to live? These are the decisions that you have to make prior to going in. If you know you have aspirations of starting a business, the last thing you should be doing is being irresponsible when it comes to, engaging in adult activities. So talking about the cost of family, housing, healthcare, childcare, education, so on and so forth. Okay, let's talk about the financial considerations of starting a business, startup capital, operating expenses. We talk about it all the time. The safety net, working capital, The safety net for the business plus the safety net for your family. If it's just you, you only got to fend for you. I'm only talking to the young guys because these young guys, I don't understand. Like in the past 2 weeks, some of these stories I heard is crazy. 24, 4 kids, one on the way, homeless, 20 whatever, 3 kids, living in the mama's basement with your, like, bro, to me that shit ludicrous. The women don't work. And then when you ask them why you want to start a business, oh, I want financial freedom. Where the fuck you think you're going to get financial freedom? You already behind the 8 ball. But then when I tell you this, your feelings get hurt and you get upset and like the goofy, oh, I'm crushing your dreams. No, I'm not crushing your dreams. I'm telling you what ain't nobody else telling you. My channel is called Mark the Mentor. Like I could talk about other shit than box trucking. I could talk about other shit than moving, final mile, economical analysis. I didn't put myself into a box. No pun intended. It's a reason why y'all come to me, like the young guy 2 weeks ago said, man, we need you. All right, so here's the thing I'm telling you. These are things that you got to think about prior to starting a business. There's no way on God's green earth I'm finna be laying up, broke as fuck, fucking. It just wouldn't work. It would not work. If I'm fucked up, that shit ain't gonna work, bro. I'm telling you. It's just not gonna work. I know what it takes to survive out here. I know what it takes to build a business. If you start a family first, you're going to need financial stability. A business at the beginning will not provide you financial stability. It's just not. Anybody that tells you anything otherwise, I'm telling you, your livelihood is not what they have at heart. A business can make you financially successful, but that's not going to happen initially. There's only a small percentage of people that start a business and they hit the ground running. And the difference, or what I can say about those, that very minimal amount of people that do hit the ground running, one thing that I can say that most have in common is they have a substantial amount of startup capital. The capital is what places them in the right place to hit the ground running. If you coming from humble beginnings, the struggle is real. That's where the sacrifice comes in at. I asked Buddy last night, okay, well, what does financial freedom look like to you? Couldn't really give me an answer. One reason he couldn't give me an answer, he only 21. So the lack of business acumen plus the lack of life experiences, he doesn't have it to even give me the answer. They hear financial freedom on the internet, but they can't really know what it looks like because they don't have the life experiences to see what life can really throw at them. Life ain't really throw nothing at you when you just now really getting out here in the world on your own. You got to see the bottom before you. Anybody ever heard? Because my mama always used to tell me this. You got to see the bottom before you see the top. My mom also told me something else. She said, man, when you're in a relationship, you think you have hard times in a relationship, you're going to see your worst times when you get married. If a person can't thug it out with you during hard times when you in a relationship prior to getting married, then shit, what's going to happen when you get married? You ain't going to see your roughest times until you get married. Same thing in business. You're going to see the bottom way more before you see the top. You're going to see the bottom before you see the top. You don't start at the top. You start at the bottom. And you're going to have little peaks where you start to go up, and then you're going to go right back down again. So what happens when you try to start a business simultaneously? Young, inexperienced, went out here and made some bad, irresponsible decisions, bunch of kids, really not established, know where to live and shit like that. And you trying to build a business simultaneously while trying to get your family dynamic in order. And then this is all you have to sustain both. But then you hit a lean time in business. Then what happens? The information that I just gave you, it comes from life experience. The shit that I told you that my OG told me, that comes from life experience. That comes from wisdom, instilling it onto me. Me adhering to that, putting it in my back pocket, keeping it up here when I make decisions as far as in relationships and business and shit like that. A lot of the decisions that I still make today, 25-30% of them, I probably wouldn't even think about if my family dynamic was different. From certain purchases to certain investments to certain risk. So when I asked Buddy last night, what does financial freedom look like? He couldn't answer because he really doesn't know. It's just shit that you hear people say on the internet. And then everybody gets into this euphoric mindset of, I don't want to work. I just want to do whatever. I want to wake up and do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. Well, I can tell you what that looks like. When you wake up and you're able to do whatever you want to do, still bills you got to pay. So there's sacrifices that got to be made for you to get to that point. Once again, goes back to what I said at the beginning. Where's the sacrifice going to come from? If you've been following my channel since I started it, I've always told you what I sacrifice. If you follow what I tell you as far as the structure, God, business, family, then you already know. If I was 20, 21, 22, in this day and age of the internet and seeing all this shit that people perpetuate on the internet, and I wanted to start a business, right? And I didn't have a family yet, I would absolutely, positively sacrifice family. I wouldn't be out here raw dogging it, not pulling out like y'all are not doing, and then thinking you finna build this conglomerate trucking business, not understanding the sacrifices that got to be made and the cost that's associated with building it. Four kids under 5,
3 kids under 6. Wife don't work. Want to start a business. A brand new business. Both require focus. Both require a lot of energy. Both require a lot of emotional bandwidth. Both require a lot of sacrifice. Now, this is something I was trying to talk to the young blood about 2 weeks ago, the sacrifice. He wasn't getting it. He wasn't getting it from a personal perspective. But then when you flip it on the business side, the sacrifice there too. Starting a business at the early stages, the inception of the business, is a 24/7 job. This is 24/7. If you're not obsessed with your business, you just really probably should go get a job. Anything that I become involved in that I want to see grow and blossom and become successful, I become obsessed with it. Anybody that knows me will tell you, anything that he get involved in that he want to grow, it becomes an obsession. Breathe it, I sleep it, I eat it, I talk about it. My mind is wandering. I could be sitting at a dinner, eating, and it seems like I'm in outer space. It seems like I'm in deep thought because I'm thinking about a business. I'm not really even focused on what's going on in front of me. Why? Because I'm always brainstorming. A lot of these young guys today, they ain't obsessed with what they want to do. They just want to do it because they seen some shit perpetuated on the internet. They get caught up in the illusion, like the lady that kind of made Trey, when I mentioned it in parallel there last night, it kind of touched him because he had a similar situation of homelessness. But that lady fell victim to what was perpetuated on the internet too. And she just wasn't sharp enough or mindful enough to understand that that shit was an illusion. You're being sold a dream. What's glamorous about trucking? You can't glamorize this shit. Any lane, what's glamorous about it? So for you to think that it was glamorous because it was perpetuated to be glamorous, you a goddamn fool. Pick a lane. What's glamorous about driving over the road for hours and hours and hours looking at green pastures for 11 hours? What's glamorous about final mile delivery? What's glamorous about moving? It's all work. Whether you're touching, it's strenuous labor. Whether you're driving, it's emotional labor. It's mental labor that wears on you. Over the road trucking, it's not as labor intensive as some of your more localized, specialized work, but it's a lot more mental taxing. It's a lot more mental taxation. There's nothing glamorous about being away for months at a time from your loved ones. What's glamorous about that? So how can you fall victim to that shit? What's glamorous about beating your body up? So for people that fall victim to that shit, they only got they self to blame. Because when you sit back and you think about it, it's nothing glamorous about it. You do what you got to do. It's a 24/7 thing. The people who make that shit work
that come into this business that already got a family structure in place, that come in the right way, transition from something else, the only way it's going to work, especially with the over the road thing, is you got to have a strong partner that understands. It's the only way it's going to work. Now, for the guys who this live stream is more catered to, based on the past few streams that we had, these young guys that got all these kids with nowhere to live, and their spouses don't work. How can you commit and be obsessed with something that doesn't provide any stability, especially if you want to go over the road and leave a bunch of young children at home and your family structure, your family dynamic isn't even stable? This is why I go back to talking like we talked about at the beginning, prioritizing. Without me saying anything, I prove every time I have these cats come up here and they click the link that everything that they see on the internet is bullshit. No prioritization whatsoever. Just following a fucking illusion. It's following an illusion. It's an illusion. Mark, I sacrificed the family to build a business. What the young blood said he wanted, I obtained it. It came with tremendous sacrifice. Tremendous sacrifice. I understood that. Why? Because I sat down and I prioritized, and I understood that I wouldn't be able to do both at the same time. I understand that business is about timing. Timing is of the essence when it comes to business. When you start, when you end, the moves you make throughout your tenure in business. Timing plays a pivotal role in business. If the last 10 years haven't showed you that, then you're just not paying attention. You're just clearly not paying attention. I'm gonna put the link up eventually because I want to engage with some of these young people, and I want to know why. If Trey is in here, if Daniel or some other young cats in here, why y'all go out and want to start these businesses, but y'all keep having these kids 40 going north, and y'all family structure, your capital as far as sustaining the family isn't there, but yet and still you think starting a business is what's going to save it, not understanding the sacrifice and the financial startup capital that you're going to need to start the business, and how you're going to sustain both with uncertainty. But you frown upon getting a job. I don't understand it. I don't understand how you have all these kids, but you're wanting to choose unpredictability over stability. To me, that seems very selfish. To me, that seems very selfish. I asked Youngblood, would you shovel shit if it was paying right? No. What? Bro, if I got kids and mouths to feed, man, I'm coming to shovel shit. If it's paying and that's an opportunity and it's going to put food on the table, I'm coming to do it. I don't understand it. Vasco says selling the dream is profitable. I get that. What I'm trying to talk to is these young people and try to get them to understand that the shit that they see, that they're being sold a dream. It's not real. I would love to take one of these young guys under my wing and really get into the deep financial aspect of what it is to sustain a living outside of business, just to live. And the things that you get hit with unexpectedly. I deep dive into a lot of my personal shit, more personal on my Discord. Like I was talking about my assessments, in one of my Discord sessions. Uncertainty. I get hit with special assessments all the time. Guess what? I got to pay them. Oh, we need some masonry work on the building. All the units got to chip in. It's going to be a $3 million project, special assessment, extra $400 a month. Got no choice. We need some work done on the roof, special assessment, extra $300 a month. I got no choice. My assessments are more than some people's rent. My special assessments are more than some people's rent. Things that I don't know when they're going to pop up. But when they do, I ain't got no choice. Got to pay it. See, what people see on the internet, right? How it's glamorized with trucking, right? And I always say they forget about the cost of living side. They don't even think about the operational cost because they see that big number. And some of these big numbers that's being perpetuated to them are inflated, like the 9,000 a week, 10,000 a week in box truck, inflated. But then when they get in, the number that they get and the cost to get to that number, the money that they have to spend to gross that amount, and then what's left over is not even enough to sustain, let alone sustain a living. A lot of these cats don't know what it really is to sustain living, just living. If they did, I guarantee you, well, maybe they would. They wouldn't be fucking like 40 going north unprotected. But then again, maybe they would because Buddy last night was homeless. Other buddies living in the basement fucking. Starting a business ain't going to save you. It's going to put you, in your situations, more into financial ruin. Now, this is when, Mark, you crushing dreams? No, this is me just keeping it a buck. This is me telling people the truth, the harsh reality of choices and decisions. What are you going to prioritize? Let me do this. We got 51 votes. 90% said business first. 10% said family first. So it was a few people that prioritize family first, and that's great. But my question to you is, if your business is the sole financial provider of your family, how can you take care of your family if you're sacrificing and neglecting your business? If your business is the sole provider, something has to be sacrificed. There's some time have to be sacrificed somewhere. Your family doesn't take care of the business. Your business takes care of your family. Something's going to get neglected somewhere along the line. So my question is to the 10% is, how do you prioritize family and still manage to sustain the cost of living because you're neglecting your business? People that got a lot of money don't got a lot of time. People that got a lot of time ain't got a lot of money. That's why you got Pookie and Ray Ray. You know, your homies that sleep on the couch, they go from chick to chick, and then around this time of the year, they find that unattractive chick who needs some love, and they canoodle up to her because they know tax time is right around the corner, and then they become her best friend because they know they can finesse out some of her tax money so they can start their box truck business in 2 months. That's a person who just got a lot of time. He ain't got no money. He gonna invest the time into finessing Keisha big ass, so he can finesse out a tax check. Person that's getting to the money ain't got the time, especially a person that's on the come up. They on the come up. They too busy building. They ain't got no time. How can a person that how can you prioritize family over business and sustain and be able to sustain the cost of living a family if you neglecting the business? I don't get it. I'm gonna end the poll. I'm gonna put the link up. Explain to me. Where's this at? Explain to me how you can prioritize family over business. And you young cats, hit the link and tell me why y'all fucking like 40 going north with all these kids and you ain't got your shit together, and then you want to expect me to give you some type of magic potion on how you going to become successful in the box truck business. Then when I tell you, yo, you should go get a job, you get upset. When I tell you should choose stability over uncertainty, you get upset because your favorite person told you can do it. Even when I show you case studies of people that went that route too, that's then coming here and say, man, Mark, when I found your channel, I didn't like you. But now I'm here to tuck my tail because everything you said was right. I went and bought this. I listened to this person because they told me that in my situation I could do it. But man, I was robbing from the sustainability of the business because I had to send my money back home. I had to take care of home. Notice the one thing you always hear these cats say, man, I had to take care of home. So hit the link and tell me how shit is possible. Oh yeah, this is one of the live streams that's not gonna be popular. Oh, I see you Trey in the building. Hit the link. Explain that shit to me, big dog. Trey, hit the link. I want to know why y'all have so many kids and you think you're gonna be able to start a business. This is the conversation. I know this ain't a popular conversation. Your favorite people ain't finna have this conversation because they want you to tap the link and buy some shit. I ain't gonna give you what the real. So this ain't a popular conversation. I'm not a popular guy. YouTube don't consider me a popular guy. That's why they don't send my notifications out when I go live and shit like that. But I still somehow managed to continue to grow a channel. I wonder why that is. Weezu said it's crazy to me to hear that people with a box truck don't make $2,500 to $3,000 a week. I do that in a used minivan. Well, there could be a multitude of variables on why. We've talked about them plenty of times. So let's have this conversation. Why y'all prioritize and make bad decisions when it comes to, starting a business? Why do y'all go out here and do what's not in your best interest and just keep making bad decisions but thinking a business is going to save you? It's going to save you financially. Let's have the conversation. Trey said he can't do it right now. He at work. Trey, I know you got a Bluetooth in your ear. You a maintenance guy. What you doing right now? You probably working in a unit. You got some AirPods or something. Throw your AirPods in and work. I'm just curious, big dog. You one of the people that inspired this conversational live stream. Every live stream ain't gonna be a smoke session or a cook up or educational as far as to the point of how to grow a trucking business and this, that, and the third. Sometimes you got to have a conversation because I see a pattern here. I see a pattern. And I want to see why y'all young people, y'all young brothers had this mindset. Why are y'all making these mistakes? You got the time in the world to type on the phone, but you can't click the link and put your AirPods in and work. Your hands will be free. You can't be doing too much work. You got time to text in the chat. I believe people see it what they want and don't want to hear the truth, so they jump out there and crash out. Why? Why you crash out? Here's my question to you, Trey. You want to start a business. At what point or what did you ever think, listen, maybe we should be a little bit more responsible when we engage in certain activities? Because if I want to start a business, I want to be an entrepreneur, it's going to take an extreme amount of sacrifice and capital. Maybe we shouldn't be having this many kids. Because you decided to start a family. Not only did you decide to start a family at a young age, you just kept having them. You're 24 with 4 under 4 or under 5. So did it ever dawn on you, to, be a little bit more responsible? Even with your situation last year, you still engaged and brought more into the world in an unstable home, but with no stability as far as living stability. So I don't understand this. I don't understand. Like, when do we sit down and start to prioritize? I'm not saying nothing wrong. It may not be popular, clearly, because last night when I'm cooking up and I'm cooking people, it's 150 people in here. But when I do a live stream like this, All y'all want the same shit. And I don't think you really understand what it takes to get there. Because if you did, decisions that y'all making, y'all wouldn't be making them. I'm waiting on your response. Daniel, I know you watching. Daniel mad at me. I heard Daniel feelings on Black Wednesday. I heard his feelings. I heard his feelings bad. I don't even remember how that conversation ended, but I didn't tell you nothing wrong. Y'all sparked this energy in Big Mark. So I wanna help y'all get y'all mentality on the right path. I want to help y'all make better decisions. I want to help y'all not be misled into propaganda that you see on the internet. You say you believe people see it what they want and don't want to hear the truth. Why wouldn't people want to hear the truth? I just want to have a conversation. That's all. Help me to understand. I don't know. What up?
Hey, what's going on, Mark? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. Well, as far as my explanation, I didn't want to get into business to begin with. I was running a moving company. I ended up having to sue the person, and I was depressed for at least about a good year. So I spent the whole year not doing anything, sitting in my garage just depressed. It was like my wife and everybody else around me that used to work for me that kept coming over to get me to start my own business. So I had my family already, um, and I had a little bit of money saved and didn't know what to do. Once I started running through that money by just sitting on my ass, I made a rational decision. I looked up everything, I did everything on my own, and I made a hell of a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes that cost a lot of money. And it's truly the reason why people probably don't think about it. Maybe something I can't answer for all the young people, but family's not all the time is it a choice. I would say smarter people make a better choice when they say, "Hey, I want to get married, but we're not getting married until we, have these things in order." I
Why? How
didn't
do you
do
say
all that.
family is not all? How do you say family is not always a choice? I don't understand that.
Say that one more time, sir.
You said family is not always a choice. Starting a family is not always a choice. Is that what you said?
I would say, well, when I say family, I mean like marriage, the whole 9 yards. Going any further, you got some people have a kid and they don't have a family. I mean, they have a family, but they're not together. But starting a family is like, some people that make better decisions, they make financial plans before they get married. They set themselves up a budget, or they say, you know what, we're not going to have kids until we have this taken care of. I ain't do all that. I joined the Marine Corps early at 21. I had my first child at 21. And once I got out of the military and stuff like that, that's when I was just bouncing around trying to figure out what type of person I am. But like I said, when I finally got up enough courage to jump in the game, that is my livelihood. That is my only livelihood. And like you said, there's some people that hit the ground running. I was fortunately one of those. But when I say I came up with a lot of issues, like I used to smoke weed a lot. I had to pay about $7,000 to fix that, situation that I had got into. Got it off my record and everything else like that. But there was no real rational thought about saying, you know what, do I want to choose family or do I want to choose a business? I never really cared for business, but when shit started hitting the fan, pressure was on, I made it to be something. Now, as far as balancing it, you can only do time management to your best of your abilities. You can't, there is no perfect line, there is no perfect balance. Some always fail, just like that. I've missed days for each one of my kids growing up. I got two boys, two girls. And the balance is when I did spend my first year on the road OTR, I made it so to where I got in a groove of things. I had a good understanding of logistics.
Mm.
And so I managed to be home by every Thursday. I'd be gone from Sunday night all the way up until Thursday. And I still make it work. I got an 18-year-old. He about to graduate in January here early. And I got the other three. They're homeschooled. It's a partnership. So the sacrifice comes in where if you have a good partner, they're able to cover some of those things. They're able to help you out or be there for your children when you're not. I mean, I'm not always in person, and it just gets a little harder each day, but I still manage to do it myself. Like I said, I didn't put the business first. I put my family first, and even now I still put my family first. But the knowledge I've gained, instead of jumping in head first and being, blind to everything, I was able to make it work. I'm still able to make it work now. It's 2:00 now. I'm off. I done made $700 just burning up 3 hours of my day, and I'm going home. So I guess that's my take on, managing the family with the business. It's, to me, my family comes first. Of course, the business is what takes care of us, but if they're not good, I can't focus on what I'm doing. If, somebody's hurt or whatever, that, that can cause an accident, that can cause any type of problem. So having a strong partner is what allows me to do what I need to do and still make it home every night. I don't do OTR no more too much. As far as I'll go, since I'm in North Carolina, is South Carolina, Myrtle Beach type thing, maybe Charleston and Virginia, Richmond area. But other than that, I'm constantly staying in the East Coast of North Carolina to the middle of North Carolina. And
Well, like I said at the beginning, this was more focused on the younger people because I maybe you came in late. I said a disclaimer like if you're older and you transition and already had a family, this is more for the people who are younger. Like these past few guys that have come up that got all these kids and they in they early to mid 20s and they living situation ain't stable, but they keep having kids, and then they want to start this business thinking this business is going to be their savior, and then me telling them, yo, you should get a job because you need more stability. So this is more I'm geared, this live stream is geared more to that younger audience.
track it.
What do you
I
want?
missed that area.
No, it's all good. What do you want to do? Do you want to start a business? If you want to start a business, then maybe you should sacrifice. Let me ask you this. If you were 20, 21, well, you said you had one at 21. Knowing what you know now, would you do things different back then?
I would say at my age of 21, I would definitely do a hell of a lot different. Oh yeah, I would definitely do a lot different. I would have started a business a long time ago, and probably be sitting at home trying to get like you. I would say, but I would definitely have done things in a better order. I would have been more goal oriented as far as focusing on,
And that's all I'm trying to get people to understand is prioritization. That's it. Prioritizing thought process. Because if I can't catch the ones that made the mistakes, I can give them some information and utilize their story for the people that are watching that may be on the cusp or may be doing things where they're not putting, priorities into perspective and making bad decisions. We're like, damn, you know what? I'm out here willy-nilly in it. Let me go ahead and strap up because I do want to start this business. And man, I see what it takes to get started because I'm looking at these stories, and these stories can be a case study for them not to make the same mistakes.
Track it. Well, you ain't never lied. You can't do this without having some type of job or money putting up. I'm definitely can't argue that. But yeah, my bad. I didn't hear the disclaimer about the young dudes and stuff like that. But I figured since I made a hell of a lot of mistakes and I didn't prioritize the business first and stuff like that, it will at least shed some light that you can do it if you actually switch modes. But the sacrifices, like you said, there's no getting around that stuff.
No, ain't no getting around the sacrifice. You gonna have to sacrifice. You just one of the people who, transitioned and made the right transition at the right time. You know what I'm saying? So
I appreciate you letting me jump up here and chop it up with you, man. Let me let somebody younger get on here.
all right.
All right.
So Trey says, I didn't have a family to pat my back or to pick up the phone and have a conversation, Mark. Some people don't have mom and dads, aunts, uncles, etc. But we figured it out. It took me to be homeless and then improve. I get that. But then again, I could say the same thing. I only had my OG, but I sat down. My OG didn't know nothing about business. My OG is an educator. I couldn't get no information as far as business from her. She's not an entrepreneur, right? I had to sit down, do my due diligence, and put things into perspective, right? I didn't need nobody to, there was nobody. There was nobody in the neighborhood that was an entrepreneur. There was nobody in the family that was that was an entrepreneur. It's just certain things I had to put in perspective for myself. Listen, if I want this thing to work, if I'm going to turn this into a real business, I have to prioritize this and I have to give it my all. I have to put it first. I can't have any distractions. I understand what it's going to take to build it. It's going to take effort and it's going to take finances. Anything that I could prevent from being a deterrent, or anything I can prevent from being a distraction, I should say, I'm going to prevent it. It's just certain things. What's known don't need to be explained. So I hear what you're saying, but then that goes to that mindset thing too. I have to challenge you on the mindset. I got to challenge you on the mindset, because every action that we do, we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing. But then there has to come a point when you proceed to do something that you got a moment and say, look, I know what I'm about to do. Maybe I should do this so that this doesn't happen. That's all I'm saying. When do we start to think about what we're doing and the results if we continue to do it the way that we're doing it, versus if we take a step back and maybe do it, but do it another way? That's it. I think when people say, oh, well, I didn't have nobody, I think that's an excuse. Because there's a lot of people that didn't have nobody. And there's a lot of people that didn't have nobody that figured things out. Why? Because they take the time and think things through. They just don't do things off a whim because the mood is right or the feeling, or they caught up in the moment. A lot of people that came into this industry during the pandemic because they was caught in the moment. They didn't take the time to think things through. What is thinking things through? Your research, your due diligence, educating yourself. They went off the hype of the moment. And when you don't think things through, you're going to get piss poor results. So I hear you, Trey, but at the end of the day, it's just an excuse. I know people who didn't have nothing. I know a guy who's adopted. I know somebody who lost their parents and are very successful, went through the system and still made it. rough upbringing, rough childhood, that are successful today. It's an excuse because it all starts right here. There's people that come from, piss poor conditions that become some of the most successful people we know. So it's an excuse, young man. I'm not gonna let you sit up here and use that. That's one of the things that's going to hinder you from progressing forward in a negative way. You could use that in a positive way. So it's an excuse. I'm not going to let you have that one. Not going to let you have that one. He says it's an excuse, however, subconsciously it also affects your willpower to do better. That's what I'm saying. You want to do better. Everybody talks about generational wealth, and this is something that I say all the time. All right, well, here's the thing. There has to be a generation that makes the sacrifices so that the future generations can benefit from generational wealth. So somebody has to break the mold. Somebody has to break and change the trajectory. And by changing the trajectory, you have to have better decision-making skills. The person who changes the trajectory of their family dynamic is the person who makes the ultimate sacrifice. This is the person who's probably not going to be able to benefit from the hard work. This is the person who's making the sacrifices. So when I hear people say they want to change the trajectory and I don't see them applying the effort, both from a mental perspective and from the actual, day-to-day of actually doing the work, this is how I can easily say, nah, it ain't gonna work. Go get a job. You ain't got it. If you look back in the history of some of the most famous families that have the 1%, people who have created generational wealth for generations already, that have had generational wealth for generations already, go look back and do the history of the individual who built it. 9 times out of 10, they were an immigrant. 9 times out of 10, they were piss poor. 9 times out of 10, they worked themselves to death to build something. When I say death, I'm not speaking, just the term. I'm speaking literally, so that the future generations, even to today, can benefit from their work. They worked themselves to death so that the future generations didn't have to. They made all the sacrifices. They made all the right decisions. They prioritized. They sacrificed so that the future generations, people that say they want to build generational wealth today, is because they thinking, okay, they hear the term, they want to build generational wealth, but they want to bask in the glory of it, not understanding that if you want to build it and you're the first generation to build it, you're not going to bask in it. You're the sacrifice to build it for the future generations. You're going to spend all your time working like a Hebrew slave so that your kids and your kids' kids and your kids' kids' kids can benefit from what you worked yourself to death to provide for them. It's got to make sense. Michael says the last generation had better opportunity, but they were stick-necked and stuck up and didn't want to see. Are we talking about X's or boomers? Are you talking about X's or boomers? Because then that all depends on hit the like button too. That all depends on individuals. I think the boomers probably are the last boomers and maybe boomers and first half of Xers maybe I think had, in comparison to today, the opportunity to build generational wealth, I think the easiest out of the last 4 generations. Obviously today, depending on who you ask, it can be easier or it can be harder. The way the boomers were able to do it by working traditional jobs, going to work, working traditional jobs, saving and investing into things like real estate, so on and so forth. All right, working a traditional job today, building generational wealth just based off solely, primarily off your job and maybe some small investments like real estate is possible, but it's less likely than it was compared to the magnitude of people that were able to do it that were boomers. Right? Times are different. Inflation, things cost a lot more now, so on and so forth. You know, back then, a man could go to work. He could work at the mill. He could work at a factory. His wife didn't have to work. That one job at that current cost of living could sustain a family of 6, you know, because people had kids back in the day. That's another thing they're saying. People aren't really having children anymore because they can't afford it, right? So a family of 4, a wife, 4 kids, and a husband, right? So a family of 6, that one job at a factory could sustain a family of 6. The husband will have a Cadillac, the wife will have a station wagon. This is back when wives had station wagons. They didn't have minivans. They had station wagons back then. Some of y'all don't even know what a station wagon is. So the man could work at Ford, pay a mortgage, a note on a brand new Ford Mustang, a goddamn Chevy Caprice station wagon, and feed a family of 6, all off one income, and still save and go invest into other 2 flats and shit like that. And do that over a period of time that when he passes on, there's something left over for the next generation to build on. With the cost of living now, right, can't really do that. Jonathan says, Mark, can I speak to Elephant in the Room? This is the younger generation. You don't see it as selfish and irresponsible to bring kids into the world and your life's uncertain. I think it's selfish and uncertain because here's the thing. The amount of time that I spent 2010, 2011, shit, throughout the whole tenure, I wouldn't have had much time to spend if I would have brought a kid into the world. I just wouldn't. I spent all my time, majority of my waking hours at work. There would be times when all the trucks were in and I'm just sitting in the office to 11, 12 o'clock at night, just staring at a computer screen, looking for new opportunities, scheduling, routing, just doing things. There was never a shortage of work. Obsessed. You can't build something and not be obsessed with it. So boom. Even with a kid, I would have did the same thing. There would have been neglect. I'm telling you, I would have neglected it because I'm going to put that business first. So I knew that. Now, from a selfish aspect of bringing children into the world, knowing you don't have the stability to even, you're not even stable yourself. Yes, I believe that's irresponsible and that's selfish. Because the child is dependent on you. And if you haven't figured it out, then yeah, that's irresponsible. There's no way around it. So that's what I'm trying to understand today, but we got one kid who I was talking to. I guess I know he's watching, but it is what it is. And the guy last night, and there's others too, that I talk to, and I just don't understand why they constantly make these decisions and think that starting a business is the bailout. It's not. It's not. There's no bailout. There's no bailout. No one's going to bail you out. Start a business is not going to bail you out. A business itself is like a child. I say that all the time. I've given the business child analogy plenty of times. Starting a business is like the inception of a business is like a newborn baby, except more expensive. So, except this baby is going to be prioritized over everything else. If you want it to go, so it's unfortunate, like I said, this is a conversation I knew wasn't going to be popular. It's fine. It is what it is. I would have liked to, add a more of an engagement with some younger people to kind of understand why, you know what I'm saying? But low key, I already know why. It's irresponsibility. And I'm just going to call it out for what it is. Irresponsibility and selfishness. Like, you shouldn't be having fun. You ain't got a pot to piss in, the window to throw the shit out of. Now here's where the shit hits the fan. Yo, you ain't in the position to have fun. Not that type of fun. And then the women nowadays, see, back in my day, like, you wasn't getting no cuckoo. If you could listen, I try to say things where I be trying not to hurt nobody's feelings, bro. I really do. But the thing is, it's just so much pacifying now because people are trying to sell products for different things, financial, literacy product, box trucking. Everybody's trying to sell. So they even if they know the real, they still pacify because they can't tell a person the right thing or what they really should be telling because it's going to deter people from buying whatever it is they're selling. But back in my day, a chick wasn't even gonna open her, you know what I'm saying, to a motherfucker who wasn't really getting it. So it's crazy that some people gonna feel upset that people can bring all these kids into the world, and it's women that's. Kevin Samuels said it the best, bro. Women provide access to sex. Men provide access to marriage. It takes two to tango. So the women And these younger generations, they done switched up too. They soft too. They don't even got no self-respect for themselves no more. They willing to put themselves in situations with all these kids with no plan. And continue to open them up in bad situations. Now, I ain't saying nothing wrong. And I don't mean to be, harsh. I'm really trying to, because it's a touchy subject. And if, you was my homie or one of my little homies or one of my little cousins, I would be way more harsh. So it ain't just the dudes. It's the women too. Are we having these feelings when we're fucked up and broke? How you have these feelings, these type of feelings to even do this type of shit, bro? That shit is crazy to me. I seen some comments about dependency on the government. I think we're at a point now where, I've heard people say it, oh, well, the government provide, I'm going to use it. All right, well, here's the thing. That's great, but that's not for ever. See, people misconstrue like EBT, we call it Link here in Chicago. Just assistance. Let's just say assistance from every aspect of assistance. EBT, cash, Section 8, whatever the case may be. That shit is meant to be temporary. That's not some shit that's meant to be for the rest of your life. Like, you shouldn't want to live off that shit for the rest of your life. That means you have no aspirations to grow. That means you have no aspirations to better yourself. You're fine with living off the government. That means you have no aspirations. That's something that if you fall up on hard times, it's there to help you and assist you to come out of those hard times and give you some temporary relief to get back on your feet. That's not like, you shouldn't make a career out of that shit. Like, so I'm not here to it's just, I don't like y'all shorties, like these past couple weeks, y'all making these excuses, and I'm really not for none of that excuse shit, bro. Because it's all choices. It's not like one mistake, all right, we shame on you, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. Like, all right, well, boom. There's gotta be some type of self-accountability. Trey said, oh man, it took him to get homeless. Man, you should have never got to that point, bro. The first one should have woke you up and turned you up. The first one should have turned you up. The first one should have turned you up. It should have turned your bully up. It should have turned your ambition up. How is it cats out here that don't have those responsibilities, right? Everybody got responsibility, but those responsibilities are a little bit more touchy. And they bully all the way turned up. They ambition all the way turned up. One should turn your ambition through the roof. I don't understand it. It's opportunities all around you. Life is, about choices and decisions. Life is what you make it. If you make piss poor decisions continuously and you don't learn from your mistakes, life is going to be harder for you. The reason why life is hard because you make it hard. Daniel 2 weeks ago, oh man, the white man, ain't no white man never held me down. I don't understand this white man shit. I get it. I understand what you saying. But can't what happened in the past stop me? That's a crutch. That's an excuse. We use that to our advantage. Fuck it. Put a white man on the van. Let them think it's a white-owned company. Fuck it. Put a white man on the website. You all right? They don't want to hire a black moon company. Are they going to be scared of niggas coming into their crib? All right, let's market it like it's a white company. Choices and decisions. Sit my ass down and thinking. Yeah, I understand that majority of the clientele is going to be from a different demographic on a different side of town that may be uneasy with a certain demographic coming into their home dealing with their prized possessions based on stigmatism. How do we beat this so that we can get to the bag? Fuck it. Market it like a white company. I'm not prideful. I'm out for the bag, man. I don't give a fuck if you black on, but I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. This is how you beat the shit. You outthink the shit. You don't use that shit. Well, man, the reason why we didn't make it is because, man, the system is against us. Nah, fuck it. Market yourself around the system. I don't excuses, bro. I ain't really for none of that shit. Cause there's ways around that shit. You may not get to the heights of some of these other people who got, entitlement and shit like that, but you can definitely build some shit and and be smart enough or make yourself smart enough by educating yourself to, break down barriers. That's it. That shit ain't, it's difficult, but people make that shit harder than what it is. If you continue to make piss poor decisions, you're creating a harder life. The more piss poor decisions, the more you don't learn from your mistakes, the harder life is going to be. It's just what it is, bro. Anybody else got anything to say? Link pinned to the top of the chat. I already told you this wasn't going to be popular. It's going to be quiet. You can hear a pin drop in here. Because it's just what it is. It's not, the shit ain't even nothing that, like, this is one of them things I think people would just already know. See, I know the young generation is sold on trinkets and bullshit. That's why I don't show you that shit. Because you're gonna bypass all the valuable information for the bullshit that's not gonna equate to revenue. Because that's what you do. You like the lady yesterday. She looked at, what was the key thing she said? She said, I came to YouTube, the YouTube and trucking made me homeless. She said, I saw these women on YouTube and they were traveling, they were living this glamorous life. She didn't say, I saw these women on YouTube and they were operating at a low cost per mile by, implementing this, or I saw these women on YouTube and they showed me how to come into trucking and scale a successful business, or I saw these women on YouTube and they showed me how to come in with a low operating cost so that I could maximize my earning potential. She said, I saw these women on YouTube and they were living a glamorous life and they were traveling and living glamorously. She saw the bullshit. And that's what led her into this situation. And that's why she's homeless. She didn't look for the nuggets. She didn't look for the gems that would make her successful because none were presented to her. She saw the glamorous life, which so many people see. Like Daniel Sell, I saw Ty Lopez and he was in his garage and he was showing this Lamborghini and this, that, and the third. That's what people see. That's all they see. And then that's what leads them into wanting to be an entrepreneur, because they envision themselves in a year standing in a garage with a Lamborghini, a Rolls Royce, a Urus, and a Maybach. I don't understand it, bro. Oblivion says, facts. My name and picture is nowhere to be found on my website, socials. This is Charlie's business to your knowledge. See, here's the thing. Let me explain something too before I get out of here. When it comes to like the young brothers, you got to know how to play the game. Y'all want to be in the front. Y'all want to be seen. This also contributes to you being unsuccessful. Some people say real money is silent. Some people say it's not. I come from a generation where you don't got to let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. If you know you behind the 8 ball, maybe you should stay in the shadows and do like I did, market your business a certain type of way. Make better decisions. Like Kevin said, play chess, not checkers. Everything should be a parallel to playing chess and not checkers. You should think things through a lot more strategically. Even when it comes to this, I'm strategic. Everything I'm strategic on. You have to be. I'm strategic even with this. I don't just ideas of shit that I want to talk about. I got ideas of what I want to talk about weeks and weeks ahead. My plan for creating next year is already thought about. The trajectory I want to go in next year is it's already thought about. This is how you continue to grow in anything you do, whether you're, doing it for monetary gain, you have a goal in mind that you want to meet. You have to strategize if you want to grow. Business, obviously, you want to grow your business so you can increase your revenue. You got to strategize. Nothing stays the same forever. We can't keep talking about cost per mile forever. The people who get it. Eventually, the people who don't, I'm going to go tell them, look at the content from this time last year. We did 6 months on cost per mile. Go watch that shit. You got to strategize. I have goals that I want to meet, so I have to invest time, make sacrifice. It's the same shit in anything you want to do, man. Like, I could talk myself into a goddamn whirlwind, but it is what it. Do a video on Thumbtack. I've done multiple videos on Thumbtack already. I've done live streams on Thumbtack. I've done videos on Thumbtack. Kevin says it's unfortunate that no one wants to take accountability and not ready to take responsibility for their actions, and they be so damn defensive, and sensitive is running rapid. We're just living in a different time period, Kelvin. One of the words that you hear a lot of people use today is depression. And, I don't know if most people use it as a scapegoat or if it's really, like, I don't want to speak because there are some people out here are depressed, but I just think the society that we live in now, it's just a lot more sensitive. There's a lot of things that wouldn't fly today that would fly 20, 30 years ago. I was watching Eddie Murphy Raw a month or two ago, and just listening to some of the jokes he said on Raw, man, ain't no way he would be able to get away with some of that shit. Like, a lot of the racial epithets that a comedian could get away with 30 years ago, they wouldn't be able to get away with it. I was listening to Too Short Freaky Tales like 2 weeks ago when I was in the gym. One of the girls that he named in Freaky Tales, he mentioned her age. And I mean, if you know the song Freaky Tales, I'm like, damn, now rapping that song 10, 15, 20 years ago, these are the Freaky Tales. And when he got to, I don't want to say the specific girl and the age and what he said, but I'm like, damn. So when Freaky Tales came out, this was okay, clearly. But listening to it today, like, whoa. You may be young, but you're ready to learn. Keith Sweat. You may be young. You're not a little girl, you're a woman. These are lyrics from songs that in the 80s flew. Wouldn't fly today. Now that's different from what you're saying, but what I'm saying is a lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed. Like, jokes were really harsh back then. Comedians were really hard. Look at Richard Pryor. None of that shit will fly today. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, none of that. So you have Kevin Hart. You have safe, R-rated family jokes. He makes fun of his kids. Why? You look at the early days of Kevin Hart, he was a little bit more raw and unfiltered. Not as bad as Eddie or Richard, but look at the transition from the 2000s, Kevin Hart, some of his stand-up to his stand-up today. This shit really is G-rated in comparison to what comedy was in the 80s. Because if Richard or Eddie was producing stand-ups similar to what they were doing then, now there would be a lot of hurt people in the audience. Because the society today is a lot softer. You said something about Dave Chappelle. I'm going to tell you what the difference between Dave Chappelle is. Dave Chappelle, and you know, this is debatable, but Dave Chappelle never really appealed, in my opinion, to a black audience. Dave Chappelle, to me, always appealed to a more Caucasian audience. I'm not a big fan of Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle ain't funny to me. Dave Chappelle ain't funny to me. I've never been a fan of Dave Chappelle like that. So, shout out to Lou. So, a lot of things have changed, so I think that contributes to, you said, what about Cat Williams? And that's why Cat Williams is blackballed. Because Cat Williams catered to a predominantly urban audience, right? And he is unfiltered, and that's why he's blackballed to a certain degree. So, that's just where we're at with it. We're living in a much more filtered society. Bernie is dead. We live in a much more filtered society, and just certain things just don't fly anymore. Like just listening to songs. Yeah, the songs, like, damn, he said that. That shit's crazy. I can't believe that he said that back then. What's more crazy, I can't believe the person was able to get away with it, because you wouldn't be able to get away with certain shit like that now. So a lot of shit has changed. Society has changed. We're not tough as we used to be, which is why the younger generation is soft. And when I say soft, they get in their panties in a bunch and shit. But it is what it is. They don't want to work. Then they want to start a business, and then they don't want to build a business. They don't want to put the work into building a business. They want instant gratification. So that's where we at with it. It is what it is. What did buddy say last night? Oh man, you send your wife to go get tires. Why? What was my immediate response to him? Why would you send your wife to go get tires? Keyword wife. You're married. Obviously, you got 2 cars. Your wife needs a set of tires. Why would you send your wife to go get tires? You take your wife's car. You sit at Discount Tire while they change, rotate, and balance 4 tires. It's not something that you send your wife to go sit up there and do. So just him saying it just lets you know the mindset of the younger generation. That's not even something that would be uttered out of my mouth. That's why I called it. I'm like, bro, you send your wife to go get tires? It's just like when you pull up to the gas station now. The dude in the passenger seat laid all the way back like this on his phone like that. The chick driving, she gets out, she pumps the fuel. Buddy ass in the seat, lean all the way back, all the way back, texting on the phone. This is where you at with it. The chick talking to the dude like he the chick and she the dude. This where we at with it, Calvin. Man, I was in a Nike store, bro. A few years ago during the pandemic. I'll never forget this shit. This is the craziest shit I've seen in my life. I'm in a Nike store. All I hear is a lady, bitch, bring your ass on. Fuck wrong with you, bitch? You got me fucked up in here. I'm in a Nike store on 87th and Cottage. I'm minding my business. I don't look and turn around. I just think it's some ghetto ass chick talking to her kids. You know, these chicks now call their kids all type of bitches and shit, right? It just keep going on. So I'm done looking at what I'm looking at. So I turn to go in the direction where that shit coming from. I see the biggest, most obese lady ever talking to a grown, this nigga was a grown ass man. She was talking to a grown ass man. Obviously, I guess it was her dude. The dude wasn't like, he was a regular dude, you know what I'm saying? No pause, no homo. I mean, but he wasn't like a dude that couldn't get a chick. You know, he was, you know, he wasn't fresh to death, but he was, you know, you know what I'm saying? This dude could have easily got a chick, but he was sitting up there allowing, and she talking loud. Other people in the store looking, bitch, bring your ass on. I ain't getting you shit, bitch. You got me fucked up. Yo, bitch ass. Fuck is wrong with you? She talking to him, and he just got the smirk on his face like, damn, she embarrassing me in here. Swear for God on everything I love. I'm looking at this dude like, damn, bro, you just, when she got over you. Oh, man, can't do it. He a man. He ain't got nowhere to go. So she could treat him like that. She could talk to him like that in public. He got to ask her for a pair of shoes. Bitch, I ain't getting you shit. This a big old woman. This woman was big. Big as hell. On everything I love. This dude probably was about 5'8", 5'9", about 180 pounds, had a jogging suit on, glasses, wasn't a bad looking guy, could easily go out and get a chick. Off of his looks. I don't know what's in his pocket. I don't know what his living situation, but ain't no man that got a place to lay his head gonna let nobody, especially no woman, embarrass him like that in public. So Kelvin, this is the society that we living in. She embarrassed that man to the point where it wasn't, you could tell this was their relationship dynamic. I don't think it dawned on her that they were in public. There's no way I would allow that to, ain't nobody finna talk to me like that. So Kelvin, this is just the society we're living in. Things have changed. Lack of respect. The dynamics have shifted, especially in our culture. You know, the woman has become head of the household, even in situations where, you know, there's two incomes coming in. A lot of the times, the woman is in a more of a better position or role at her job where she's making more, and because of that, you know, they place themselves at the head of the household. They give themselves the title of the head of the household, and they carry themselves like that. I've dated women in the past that were used to dealing with guys where they were more in a financially dominant role in comparison to the guys that they dated, so that as, you know, they continue to date, they were more in better roles. Like, you know, people say, you know, black women are the most educated but the most in debt. So, they got the education, they got the debt for getting all these master's degrees, which give them better roles and higher paid positions within, their job. So when they do date, they're meeting a guy who may be making $60,000 a year, but they're making 120. So they feel more dominant over, and they treat these guys like that, and these guys allow to be treated like that. And then I'll date them, I'll run into me, and I'll see that, like, bro, you can't talk. No, and it don't work because they so accustomed to being in that role that when they meet a person who's more dominant than them, that they not making more money, then you can't. I'm not finna, bro. I'm not going. So I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? And I understand why. But then that can go back to what we talked about earlier with the Section 8, and it was done by design. It is what it is, but choices and decisions still. That guy that was in a Nike store, he didn't have to put up with that. Me, if I was that guy, I already know why he was putting up with that. Me, I'd rather go be homeless. Not gonna do it. But yeah, just the younger generation is just weak, bro. They weaker mindset, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know. They have a lack to, I don't know, bro. I don't get it. It is what it is. Many of these dudes like having a mother figure as their partner. I believe that some men are afraid of their girlfriend because they fear of her family might beat them up. No, I don't think that's it. Now, when he wake up and knock her head in, he gonna have to lay her out. Not promoting that. I don't think that guy that I saw in the Nike store, I don't think that's the way she was talking to him. If she knew she could talk to him and get away with it, she knew she could get away with that. So certain women ain't gonna pull that with a guy that they know gonna go upside their head. It just is what it is. So, but this all can lead to what we talked about today as far as, decision making. There's gotta be, like, listen, somebody gotta be, it takes two to tango. Somebody has to be a decision maker, good decision maker. And if it's not the guy, then the guy need to find a woman that is going to support the guy and coach him into making the right decisions as a man. So, a lot of these guys nowadays they just don't have leadership qualities. They just don't have leadership qualities, bro. So, Boxcar said he probably didn't want to check her in public and take a chance going to jail. Well, he could have also walked away. I mean, how long are you going to stand there and go through that in a public place? Like, he didn't have to stand there and accept it neither. He didn't have to say nothing. He could have walked away. But that's what I'm saying. There obviously had to be something there. There's a dynamic there that caused him to sit there and accept that. 9 times out of 10, he probably ain't got nowhere to go. He had to stand there and accept that ridicule, because if he would have walked off, she probably would have left him. Probably ain't had no money to get home. So he had to stand there and accept it because he ain't got nowhere to say. Only person that's finna accept that is a person who ain't got nowhere to lay their head. Person that got somewhere to lay their head, they got something going on for themselves, they not finna stand there and honor that shit. Ain't no checking at home, none of that. You checking that shit right at the door, you walking away. You're gonna leave that shit right there. You know. So we used to say you would rather sleep in the subway. Yeah, so that's it, man. I think I'm done. Hopefully some of these young guys got the point. It's something I wanted to talk about after just, these two, young guys that, I've come across on the channel. Hopefully there's some young person out there that, is watching this in the shadows somewhere, and, maybe got some value to kind of, prioritize things, don't make rash decisions. You know, just be more responsible. I'm just gonna say it. Be more responsible in some of the decisions that you make, especially if you have aspirations on starting a business. All right. So appreciate everybody. Until next time. Peace.